You know, one thing that I've learned during my 2 full seasons of watching MLS is to always do research when fans start complaining about that a head coach should be fired. Just always do your own share of research and get factual information before you go along with what the fans want. It's a lesson that I've learned with the Atlanta United situation. And I was on board with the fans when they were saying Boca out, Pineda out due to the whole Joseph Martinez situation. But after doing some research and some personal investigation on my own, I realized Joseph was the problem. And not only is Joseph part of the problem, Atlanta United has an entitlement, a culture of entitlement amongst the players. There's an entitlement issue. A lot of the players believe that their spot on the team is already given to them. It should be given. It should not be earned. That they shouldn't have to work for playing time. That's the mentality that Atlanta United players have. It's not only Joseph Martinez, it's that entire roster. You got a lot of guys on that roster who is using the MLS as just a pit stop, a stepping stool for their later endeavors to play for their personal country's national team, to play for their favorite European team, whether it's Europe or Bundesliga or Serie A. They're just using the MLS for that. A lot of the guys on that roster, they don't care about Atlanta United. They don't care about MLS. They just care about themselves. It's the spirit of entitlement that Gonzalo Pineda is trying to kill, and Joseph Martinez is preventing him from doing such. That's what I found out in my personal investigation. So when it comes to Kansas City head manager Pete Vermes and the fans saying that he should be fired, my question to you, Kansas City fans, is what the hell are you thinking? The man has been around for 13 seasons, 9 playoff appearances. He only missed the playoffs 4 times in those 13 seasons. He has 3 U.S. Open Cup titles, 1 MLS Cup championship, no Supporter Shield. He was a runner-up for the Supporter Shield either 2 or 3 times. I think it was 2 times he was a runner-up for the Supporter Shield. No CCL titles, no Club World Cup. If you look at his resume, he should not be on the hot seat. So a guy like him with that kind of good resume, that kind of fat resume, making the playoffs for 9 out of 13 seasons, he actually gets a pass when he has 1 terrible season. Now, I don't know what happened to Kansas City in 2019. I know 2009, it was his first season. 2009 and 2010, that was his first 2 seasons. So it's understandable for him missing the playoffs his first 2 seasons. I don't know what happened in 2019, but arguably we can say that the 2022 season has probably been his worst season as a head coach in the MLS. So he can get a pass, but for this season only. The reason why he gets a pass for this season only, because next season, the league is going to be tougher. It is going to be tougher. Look what Austin has done in 2 years. There have been teams that Kansas City, one of the pioneers, they're once known as the Kansas City Wizards, but Kansas City has been surpassed by a lot of MLS teams in the West that started after them. Seattle surpassed Kansas City. Portland surpassed Kansas City. LAFC surpassed Kansas City. Austin only been around for 2 seasons. Austin has already surpassed Kansas City. Salt Lake has surpassed Kansas City. You don't want a team like St. Louis, an in-state rival at St. Louis, to overpass you to Kansas City. That's why you got to be very careful, Pete Vermes, and you got to treat the 2023 season as if your job is on the line. Now, I'm not saying you're on the hot seat because I don't know. And me personally, I believe that you should not be on the hot seat because, Pete Vermes, you're one of the few MLS coaches that really wants to be in the MLS. A lot of the MLS coaches that I'm witnessing, a lot of them are just using it similar to how the Atlanta United players are using it as a stepping stool to go play for their favorite European teams and their favorite South American teams. A lot of MLS coaches they use the MLS as a stepping stool to go coach for their favorite European team that they've been cheering for ever since they were a young lad, or their favorite South American team, or their favorite Mexican team. There are few coaches and players in the MLS that truly love the MLS and are truly passionate about being in the MLS. And you're one of those few coaches, Pete Vermes. This is why I'm not putting you on any hot seat. All you need is probably like 2 or 3 more MLS Cup titles. You definitely need a CCL. You need a supporter shield, and you're most likely going to be first ballot MLS Hall of Fame. I don't know how MLS Hall of Fame works. I don't know if it's like basketball where you got NBA and college basketball and I believe high school basketball, all that comes together as one, as the American Basketball Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if American soccer is like that, but you're going to be you're going to be part of the MLS or American Soccer Hall of Fame. People from East, you're definitely in there. You just have to win a couple more titles. And the good thing about coaching in the MLS has given teams and coaches like you, Pete Vermes, that really do care about being in the MLS, multiple chances and multiple opportunities to get it right. You got the Supporter Shield. You got US Open Cup. You got MLS Cup. You got Leagues Cup. There's CCL, Club World Cup. 6 opportunities for you to win something, Pete Vermes, within these next 10 years, within these next 10 seasons. So, Pete Vermes, my word to you is similar to what I told the Cascadia boys. Use this offseason as a time of self-reflection. Yes, you did deal with a lot of injuries. Similar to Atlanta United, you dealt with a lot of injuries. But at the same time, you had a decent U.S. Open Cup run. And Sacramento needed extra time and penalty kicks to eliminate you from the U.S. Open Cup. So you fought all the way through. And even after your team, Pete Vermes, was eliminated from the U.S. Open Cup, your team still competed. Your team still competed. You beat a couple of teams. You either beat or you forced a draw on a couple of teams that hurt their playoff chances. You beat the Seattle Sounders and Portland late in the season, and those 2 teams are sitting at home right now. So you are a team that, despite all of your shortcomings this season, you still fought hard. You fought to the end. And that's why I believe that you are going to bounce back in 2023, because you have a head coach that cares about coaching in the MLS, and you have a coach that wants to win in the MLS. And there's not many teams that have that kind of manager, a manager that wants to be in the MLS. There's few head coaches, or there's really only 2 managers that has really stood out to me so far, and that's been Pete Vermes and Bruce Arena. Why? Because when you watch the matches, those 2 managers are very animated on the sideline. They're engaging. They make you want to cheer for them because their passion for the game in the MLS, it makes you want to root for them. It makes you want to see their team be successful and win. Pete Vermes missing the playoffs is not good for the MLS, because even though Kansas City is not a big market city, even though Kansas City is not a big populated city, Kansas City is still a sports town. It is a soccer town. And it's a team that has a manager that wants to be in the MLS. He really cares about the MLS, and he really wants the sport to grow in America. So Pete Vermes, I don't care what the fans say about you. Fans that are saying that you should be on the hot seat, they're just speaking out of emotion, Pete Vermes. Don't take it personal. That's what fans do. Fans speak on their emotion. A lot of them don't speak on logic, so you just let them talk. But my word to you, Pete Vermes, as I told the Cascadia boys, self-reflect, learn from your mistakes, and don't get left behind in the 2020s. The Western Conference is crowded. It's very competitive. It's ultra competitive. It is going to be very easy for you, Kansas City, to get left behind in the 2020s. You don't want to be one of those teams that get left behind. Because Pete Vermes, you're one of those few coaches in the MLS where people want to see you succeed because you really care about being in the MLS, contrary to many of your colleagues.